Okay, this is Brent from TradeGuild.blogspot.com, and it is 2:15 a.m. the 21st of August. So I told you that I think ADBL responds pretty well to accumulation distribution indicators. A lot of times, some of the lower price stocks with, I'm going to say, lower volume respond pretty well to these. There's some inefficiencies, I think, in those markets, and we can pick up pretty good on accumulation distribution. So this is my custom indicator. I call it 3C. 3C stands for compare, 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 because that's really what technical analysis is all about, comparing. And what I do is I use this indicator. It's based on another accumulation distribution indicator that's proprietary to Warden. And I look at it in longer terms, and I look at it in shorter terms. I look at it on daily and intraday time frames, and we try to put together a picture. So we might have a positive long-term trend with a negative medium-term trend with a short-term, meaning like intraday trend that is positive. So we can have 3 different trades. It just depends on the time frame we're looking at. So right now we're looking at a long version of 3C, and we're looking at a daily chart. So basically what we do is we look for divergences, the same you would with RSI or MACD or whatever, and then we have presumed accumulation or distribution. So if we take a look back to the whole meltdown in early '05, let me change this indicator, just make it a little bit more visible for you. Okay. If we look all the way back to early 2005, you could see we have a high peak over here, and then when we have a retest of that, we have a lower level over here. Now, the problem with that really is that that's a negative divergence. We don't see the same amount of accumulation and buying interest into that second move. So that was a warning sign to be getting out of this stock. Actually, let me go back to the other one since I have the red marker out. Then we get some pretty standard moves here. It just basically is staying in tune with price. Now, when we get to this area over here, we see a slight bump up. This is a slight positive divergence, and we see a little move off that. That move basically just stays in line, doesn't produce anything, and we see price in line, moving, making lower lows. Then over here, when we get a retest over here, this indicator's all of a sudden moving up. At this point, it's a relative divergence, and really at this point it becomes a leading divergence before it's broken out. So we had a very, very positive accumulation signal as ADBL was basing. You could see on the most recent move over here in early August, we don't get as high of a reading here, so that's actually a negative divergence, and we could see that the stock actually sold off at that point. So we're going to look at an hourly chart, and now we're looking at the same indicator. We're just looking at an intraday time frame, and what we see here is a stock that's in gear at this point. At this point, we start to lose momentum. This is not uncommon. We see this with sideways movement, but here's the real problem over here on this big move early August. Very, very negative divergence there. As price is moving up, the indicator is moving down. That's a big problem. Interestingly, though, we see a nice little recovery. Let me zoom in a little bit. And what I mean by that is that we get a retest more or less over here, and this indicator not only has moved up a little bit right here, but if you look at the disparity between price is actually significantly down, but this indicator has not made a new low. It's held on. So we see accumulation as we see this little panic sell-off right here. We're seeing accumulation on this retest, and then we see this move up. So we're going to take a look at a 15-minute version now. This is what I'm saying. We break this thing down. We try to really time the trade, and again, we're looking at the early August move over here, and this has become much more pronounced, as you can see. And then here's the retest, and we've got the accumulation there. And at this point, we actually have a little bit of a leading divergence. as you can see, at least in lockstep with this high, we have a leading divergence here because price is much lower, the indicator's a little bit higher. I think we're going to take a look at one more time frame here, maybe a 5-minute real quick. What do we have here on the 5-minute? This is the past week or so. Here's a positive divergence that's taken effect over here. As we test that low, this is making a leading divergence. So this is what I'm saying. We're timing these trades. We're getting an entry on an intraday signal, and it's been a very, very positive little set of circumstances there that's produced accumulation. Unfortunately, as we made today's highs, this indicator has fallen apart and has moved into a leading downside negative divergence. Now we're talking about intraday trade. We're not talking about long-term trend here, so keep that in mind. And we're going to move to a little bit faster indicator. And what we have here is 3C. This is a faster one, and it's on a daily time frame. The readings can be a little bit different, but we try to, find where we have commonality, and then we can make an assessment based on that. And basically, we have commonality right here on this positive divergence that it's been brewing in this area. We get the move up, and again we have some commonality in today's, well actually this is the early August move, I'm sorry. So there's that negative divergence because prices moved up, the indicator should have moved up, it didn't. There's the pullback off of that, and here's the commonality. We have a low over here. This indicator failed to make a new low, so we see this move up based on a positive divergence that's been brewing pretty much this whole quarter. Let's take a look at some intraday time frames. This is an hourly chart of that faster indicator. Remember, everything we've seen thus far has showed that negative divergence. This is a different indicator, more or less. It's a faster one, and again we have that negative divergence in early August. In fact, since July, this whole debacle has just been going downhill, and this was probably, I don't know, maybe they were running some stops or unloading a big position, I don't know, but this was just a forced move here. And there's the sell-off, probably running stops on both sides of this little trend. So again, there's the retest, there's the positive divergence, there's today's action. We're going to take a closer look at this again with a 5-minute chart. And what we have, again, is that negative divergence into today's highs. You can see it over here. Let's see what produced this. We have pretty much the indicator in lockstep over here. At this point, we're seeing weakness. We're not seeing that, that positive accumulation. As we move sideways, now we're seeing that positive accumulation here. The indicator's moving up. We see the positive accumulation here. This action yesterday is why I wrote the little note on the message board and said, I think, we're probably going to see a move up Monday morning or Monday. There's the move again, and there's that failure of the indicator on an intraday time frame. I'm going to show you an even faster one. It's the one in red here. And basically, we're going to look at a 15-minute chart here. Let me get rid of this moving average. We don't need that. And basically what we're seeing here on the 15-minute chart is a pretty good trend is in place here, but you can see that distribution again today. On a 5-minute chart, you can see that distribution very clearly. Let's go to a tick chart and see what happens there. And on the tick chart, we're actually seeing a little bit of accumulation. So hopefully tomorrow what we'll see is ADBL gather some strength. This tick chart will hopefully bleed in to the 5-minute chart and get ADBL back underway and see if we can challenge that resistance up there around 12. This is Brant from TradeGuild.blogspot.com.